Now I have it.
I have so many friends now.
So many.
Okay, so everyone's rolled their initiative. So I think what we're gonna do with this is there's a black dragon in front of you. No.
There's a black dragon in front of you.
Yeah,
Opening
yeah.
sequence.
So I'm testing out this encounter design. So here's a black dragon. Have fun. Let's see here. So Rhea, you have a 20, so I'm gonna have Rhea go first. After which we'll go with Artica, and then Ulu, and then Nob. So the basic gist for this is just it's you're waking up in the morning feeling like whoever you want to feel like, and you get so just tell me like what does your stuff look like tonight? There's going to be like a meeting in the town to kind of decide whatever like what's going to go down to resolve. I guess I didn't actually tell. I didn't tell several people. I didn't tell Peter, and I also didn't tell any of the viewers who would be watching this what the fuck is going on. So, I'm going to go through the basics of what the fuck's going on. So, you all live in a farming town that farms like a very specific resource that sort of like creates barriers that keep wild animals generally at bay, including the really big scary ones. Anything basically with an int score below 4 can't penetrate the barriers. And yeah. So you all basically it's like a very technical sort of like difficult farming task. It can only be done in specific places, and even then, like there's a bunch of stuff that goes into making sure that the soil is exactly right and managing sort of probably some degree of like machinery and stuff like that that's like sort of like magically keeping everything stable and in position to maximize the output that y'all have. So relatively upper middle class kind of like the best way that I would think of it is like an oil rig out like on the ocean where it's like you have a bunch of not a bunch you have a few people who are very very highly paid to go out to the middle of goddamn nowhere and harvest this resource that's incredibly difficult to obtain. So that's the basic gist of what's going on there. Recently, there have been some problems, which is that the traders who usually come in and deliver supplies and take your product to the rest of the nation, which is what is this plant called again? I know the names of my things. Look, I know. One person in here knows the name of this, and it's not me.
Thurman Blossom.
The Thurlin Blossoms. Those things. So the Thurlin Blossoms. I'm good at names. Look, I wrote down a bunch of names. I'm going to be fine. I wrote down a bunch of names. I just need to open things up, and then I'll have all my names. Anyway, the Thurlin Blossoms are basically taken by the traders, and the traders then, basically take orders for what y'all want to have come in later shipments. And, every couple of weeks, someone comes by with a bunch of shit, and you give them some, there's like a sort of rotating thing. So, that's the basic gist of how things go. And those traders, a few weeks back, like 3-4 weeks ago, they were supposed to come and they didn't. And that's fine. People get drunk at a tavern, they get into a bar fight, there's all sorts of things that happen to, these little tiny trade caravans where it's just like, okay, it's a dude or a dudette in a vehicle, and if they fuck things up in any way, they don't show up on time because they got drunk. So it happens, sometimes things are about a week late. Things got really weird when it was all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, now the next shipment that was supposed to come in has also not arrived on time, and the first shipment still hasn't arrived. So that's the point where it's like, oh, okay, so how are our food supplies here, huh? How are our non-perishable food supplies? Because, we don't grow anything other than this inedible plant. So we have, hunters around, which Rhea is one of, and that's fine. But then the other hunter disappeared. So like the town's actual hunter disappeared one night, and nobody knows where they went. And technically speaking, it's kind of illegal for Rhea to go out and hunt alone because there's a whole like system and it's bureaucracy and bullshit or whatever, right? Like no one's allowed to leave except under like think of like corporate hierarchy. Like, okay, well, if people leave this place and they die, it fucks everything up. So no one's allowed to go outside and get killed by monsters. But like because Rayo's a hunter by trade, they were technically the apprentice to this generally useless, underperform. Like, think of the person who figures out exactly where the bar is set and knows exactly how to get exactly to the bar every day and does that for 50 years. That's this hunter. Is, okay, what's my quota? This is my quota. If I go to this trap, this trap, this trap, and this trap, I'll meet my quota by the third trap 80% of the time, and by the fifth trap 100% of the time. Right? We're fine. And I'm going to do these exact things. We're never going more than 10 feet outside the barrier, and we're not going to do anything interesting, and everything is boring. So, the quality of production has gone up substantially since Rhea's arrived because, for some reason, a lot more stuff comes back. And nobody knows why, but, this, what did I name this person? Du Yin. Legit. You give Du Yin someone to just carry meat, and all of a sudden Du Yin's given 5 times as much product. We're talking, like, bigger things that are cooler and shinier and have more interesting magical properties all over the place. It's great. Now, obviously, everyone in town knows what's really going on, which is that Rhea is doing all the work. But the narrative is the narrative, and everyone does their kabuki thing, where it's like, oh, yes, oh, wow, good job, Du Yin, you are so impressive. Anyway, so that's the basic gist of what was going on there. But then Du Yin disappeared, which is really surprising because, like, this profession is ostensibly dangerous, but not the way that Du Yin does it. Like, Du Yin does not do anything dangerous. And so Du Yin disappeared, and now y'all need to wonder, like, okay, well, what the fuck is going on? Because we haven't had supplies come in for a while, and now our hunter has disappeared. So the town has been sort of, like, rumbling and talking about, like, what the hell are we going to do? And it's been kind of settled on somewhere in the vicinity of, like, we're going to need to send some people to investigate what the hell is going on. So that's the basic gist of the sort of preamble. So today is the day where people are going to, pull the trigger, so to speak, on what's happening. But that's not going to happen until after it's a farm. There's a bunch of work that needs to get done every day. So, Rhea, I'm going to pass things off to you. You wake up.
Okay. I pretty much like wash up and do my morning exercises, which is run around the village and a bunch of push-ups and sit-ups and all that kind of jazz. And as I'm warming down, I'm going to get breakfast for myself. I'll like in the inn I'm staying at, and then I'm making breakfast with the meat that I obviously carry all around me generally, and the spices I have. So wait, how long am I doing this? Like, am I like just until afternoon, or what's happening actually?
Well, I just want to go through like sort of like a little bit of like what is your routine like in this,
Ah,
like just get an idea of like what the character is up to and things like that.
okay.
So,
Yeah, so breakfast, making my own breakfast.
so
I
you're
guess.
staying in the inn.
Yeah, I think I have like a room there probably.
Yeah, it's like you got a room planning to stay for like 2 weeks, and then you ended up staying for 3 months, and it's like
Essentially.
Cobb's just like, okay. Cobb is the innkeeper, so Cobb is you know. How
I
early do you get up?
before the sun rises.
I would say that I was gonna say like Cobb doesn't see Cobb's asleep. Okay, Cobb is an innkeeper in a tiny town. Cobb ain't got nothing. Cobb's not doing shit. Cobb's asleep. So you get up and you go over to the kitchen and you just are like, okay, well I'm just gonna start crafting up a
Yep,
meal with
gourmet meal with my own spices and my own meats. I'm not taking anything from anyone, and, and like I don't know the vegetables I keep on hand generally. It's
I
gonna be decadent, but very high protein and very nutritious.
will it now.
Of
So
course.
I would like you to tell me what kind of role do you think this cooking should be? What skill do you think should be tied to your cooking? I feel like this is something that we're going to see a lot of.
Is, what do I have? Uh, survival. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's funny. That's what I was thinking. You can use survival.
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Okay.
Making your exotic meal with your exotic meats, knowing which parts of this thing are poisonous and which parts are less
13.
poisonous. What? 14?
13. Yeah.
13. Give me a second. There we go. Now I can see both of these things. Okay, so 13. So it's not the best meal you've ever made, but you've done you're done. You've done this before. You've practiced with this. This might be something
Yeah.
you've made before. It might be something that you made that's completely new. It's to your mind, it's satisfactory, right? Like it's like
Not great. It tastes good.
not my
I
best work,
guess.
but it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So what is your plan for the day? Do you, especially now that technically you're not actually allowed to leave? And I do say technically because I mean, who would stop you if you were going out to go hunting? Like no one's going to stop you, but like you're technically not supposed to. So do you go out hunting? What would you be doing?
Could I? I mean, could I go into the forest and stuff? Like, I'm not gonna hunt. I'm not gonna do anything illegal. But
Well, it
I
would
would
be
like
illegal to
like,
go in. Like leaving the
to go
town
in.
like
Is illegal?
it's basically like it's not even illegal. It's like this is kind of a corporate town, so it's kind of illegal because the corporation has control over the laws. But it's more like it would be a violation of policy because it's considered an unreasonable risk to personnel to allow them
I
to go
see.
off site. So it would be against the rules, but none of the people here are going to stop you. Like there isn't like some like corporate stooge just sitting there going, I'm just waiting.
So, so, so Riyadh knows that they won't get into trouble, right?
Go ahead and make an insight check for me.
Okay. Mm, 7.
7. You're not really sure. You feel like, you've been here for 3 months, and maybe someone would cause problems for you. You're not sure what kinds of problems they could cause for you because you really aren't tied to this organization in any meaningful way. This isn't like your career, right? So, from a practical perspective, it's like, what could they do? Would they try? Hard to say. Hard to say how much of a stickler for the rules people are around here.
Okay, then I'm just gonna like stay in my room and sort out my like kills, like my pelts, the things I have, all the stuff I haven't sold off yet. Then
Okay.
like organize them and like check them over.
Okay.
And
So
like yeah.
I think at some point, probably several hours later, Cobb wakes up. Maybe. Do you think that? What do you think your relationship would be with your pseudo landlord, who like ostensibly is running an inn, but it's like you make your own food. You do all the things that are supposed to be done by the establishment yourself, and so they're kind of just a landlord at that point, right? Like it's not really.
Yeah.
They're not quite living up to the expectations that. Not because they wouldn't, but because you don't have any interest in other people making your food.
Yeah. I guess we will have like a very courteous relationship. I say good morning, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And other than the meat and the money I give him for room and board, there's not really much there. So
Okay. Just
I know his name.
yeah. It's like I know your name, and that is a compliment.
Good enough.
That's sufficient. Okay, well, if you're going to hang out in your room, then that seems like a good time for us to move on to the next person in initiative, which was Artica. So, Artica, when you wake up in the morning feeling like whoever you feel like feeling like, what do you do?
I wake up in the morning full of energy, just ready to go. My first thing, I sit down and meditate for like half an hour, or sometimes an hour, sometimes 3. But today, I'm feeling alright, so it's just half an hour. And then I do an ancient practice of stretching, but it's really weird because I just like make shapes with my body.
Give me
And I'm
1
a really
second, actually.
What did he say before he left?
He needed a second.
I was not prepared. I don't know where I put my dice. I just realized it would be fun to do the dice rolls by hand. Alright, I'm gonna check something. You can continue talking now. I have my headset back on.
So I'm just like, stretching and exercising and meditating. And then I have my breakfast. What do I eat? I'm a dragon. Do I munch on crystals? Do I eat gold? I do not know. What do dragonborn eat?
Dragonborn typically eat the same things as other people, but
You're a new species.
You're
You're a
basically-
different species.
you're basically creating something new entirely, so it depends on what you want.
Can I photosynthesize?
Unlikely.
That's annoying.
Photosynthesis does not give you enough energy to
Fine.
accomplish the
Until
things
I
that you
can
do.
eat my god, I transmutate everything I eat or pretend to turn it into my god. So I go to the inn, order bacon and eggs, say a prayer over it, turn it into the flesh of Arctole, and munch on it. I
So,
suck on his runny eggs, fantasizing that they're his brains.
so what is your relation? Oh, what time do you get up, by the way?
3 a.m.
Whoa.
What time did you go to bed?
I practice polyphasic sleep cycles. It's the only way I get my life sorted.
I see.
Mm.
Polyphasic. Okay. So, that's going to cause complications for the standard long rest.
It's okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's fine. So,
I have psychic powers.
so what's your relation? So, when you go in the morning, you're waking up at 3 a.m. Where are you getting this food?
Sometimes it's just stuff that I've left from last night. Sometimes I have a standing agreement with the innkeeper to have stuff sent up to me. Do we have room service?
Well, you would probably have your own house.
Okay,
Like,
great.
you-
I have servants. Do I have a servant? Do I have a servant? Can I have a servant?
I think that that's unlikely.
Can I have?
You are not
a
bourgeoisie.
DoorDash?
You are the petite bourgeoisie.
Fine. Do I have a food delivery service?
You
That about
would.
me.
Great! My food delivery service drops off food. I have a scheduled delivery of whatever, because I don't really care, because I transmute it to the flesh of Antole. Imaginary, though. It's not real. It's
And you
just
consume this
ritual.
food at 3 a.m.
No! I meditate for 3 hours sometimes. I consume it sometimes at 6, sometimes at 7. Whenever I'm hungry. It's flexible. But this particular morning, I'm eating at about 8.
8 in the morning.
Mm.
Okay. So, and what did you do? What working? What are you working on for the 5 hours before you eat, and for?
Well, I meditated for 3 hours. I stretched for 1, and then the last hour I was just fucking around, looking at my books, looking at my titles, just
Can you read out some of those titles for me?
No.
Okay. Okay. So you're just sort of faffing around for.
I'm just
8 hours.
faffing around waiting for my food order.
Okay. Well, let's see. So the two of you would presumably interact then. So what is the scoop there? So Misha, your characters. Oh, have we gone through what everyone's names are? I didn't have
Yeah,
everyone
mine's-
introduce their
mine's-
characters.
Mine's Ulu.
I'm
Oops.
Asheria.
I'm Artica.
And I am Knob.
Yeah, I'll change my name on Discord for ease as well.
Okay. So Ulu, the buck has basically just been passed to you. Whoops, screw the initiative order, apparently. So this plan fell apart fast, which is great. So, what's your relationship like with Cobb, who is presumably the person that you would be picking up the food from? Or would you not have as much of a relationship with Cobb, and would you actually be getting the food from Rhea? Like,
I just want it delivered to my house. I'm assuming there's a food delivery service. I don't care if it's from the innkeeper or something.
well, there's a
I
person.
saw the details.
There's a person who can deliver food. The question is, like, who is it that it's being gotten from?
Well,
Would you just like leave that up to the delivery person to find food and supply anything?
yeah.
I don't
Isn't there only like one place? Isn't there only like one food place? Is there like multiple restaurants here? Is there just one canteen?
There's just the one inn, but the basic question is that since Rhea is like a chef, the question is basically whether you would be getting it from the actual establishment or whether you would be basically buying meat and preparation for the meat from Rhea directly.
Well, I guess my character
wholesaling
would
it.
just want good food and would want the best food and would want it delivered. So yes, probably I would want an arrangement with Rhea to get me food.
Okay, then we could have arrangement.
All right.
I only cook if I'm paid, or if I want them, or if I want to see how they react to my food. Yeah.
I'm doing it in return for exotic cookbooks.
Hell yeah. Okay. Yes, and we have an arrangement now.
I like this
We have an
arrangement.
arrangement.
Okay, so that would mean that Ulu, you would be basically heading up to talk to Rhea about this. So let's have that interaction go first. So before this, presumably you either got up or are still up. So what is your morning routine like?
At what time?
I mean, it depends on when you start. When do you start your day? Because the 8 o'clock is the time of delivery. So
I need some sun up. So I guess I would have woken up with the sun.
and where would you be? Where would you be sleeping?
Maybe some sort of attic or loft in the inn.
Okay,
Yeah.
just like the
Well, it's
highest
not-
place that doesn't get rained
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, it maybe wasn't like planned to be a room. It
Yeah.
was like, set aside, and they said they'd work on it, but they never did. And then I came along and I was like, oh, it's perfect,
Yeah.
and I moved in there. And it also makes sense because I'm not like I don't have a lot of money. Uh, I'm just kind of working for my food and trying to, I guess, earn my perceived right to stay in this little village, this little town. So I guess I would wake up and I would have some sort of polished steel, right? Like I can have that, right? Like a mirror.
A mirror
Yes.
made out of metal. I don't know. Metal's so expensive.
A
That's
mirror
like
made out of anything.
that's
Like,
worth
would I
at
have
least
a
a couple
mirror?
of copper pieces. No, you can have a mirror. Yes.
Oh, okay, a couple of copper.
I was
Okay.
I was completely kidding about like, oh, I don't know if you could afford a mirror. And
Well, I'd wake up and I'd look in the mirror, and about 30 minutes would pass by, and then I would go about my day.
and what do you
You
see in
know,
the mirror? Since this is a very big portion of your day, what are you seeing?
um, I'm seeing true beauty in the mirror, and I would make sure that I'm all fluffed up, and I'll preen myself and make sure that I'm presentable to, you know, perhaps a god. Who knows? Because that's the only kind of standard of beauty I would adhere to or care about.
It
Because
sounds
I
legit.
know I'm beautiful. I know that I'm the most beautiful person
So
in town.
specifically, what do your features look like? Because nobody knows what you look like at all. They don't even know what
Oh,
species you are.
I didn't write this down. I'm an Arakocra, so I'm a bit of a bird. I have feathers.
Bit of a bird.
Uh, yeah, bird person. I look a bit like a secretary bird humanoid, except very colorful, very vibrant colors. Um, like green, red, yellow, things like that. All over. I think there's a picture somewhere. There should be a picture, but
There
I
are
don't know how I'd share that. I feel like I'd have to describe it.
there are lots of images of secretary birds.
And I'm bad at descriptions.
And if I had set this up in advance, then I would have the ability to just
Pop it up on
to just
screen.
pop this up on screen. But actually, I don't actually know. This might be a copyrighted image. Maybe I shouldn't do something like that. Anyway, secretary birds, they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So after
Uh,
30 minutes of
30 minutes of admiring my own image. I would go about and see if there's any orders because I'm a delivery boy of sorts, and that is what I've been doing here since I got here. And I guess one of the earliest deliveries would usually be for Artica,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm sort of prepared myself to go in that direction. And I guess Ria would be just about done
Yeah, I would think
cooking.
so. I would probably right after all my exercises, I would head to the kitchen and start cooking for me and like the orders, and maybe I even cook for Ulu too. If if Ulu stays to eat, if not, then like whatever. But
then you gotta
so
show me the money. Show me the
or
money or show me the eating.
or let me watch you
Yeah.
eat it. Okay, so
I
yeah,
like to
good.
watch.
They would have it all packed up and ready to leave because wake up early, get ready early.
Yeah. I'd eat later. So I would just pick it up, I guess, and
Yeah, that. Bye.
Yeah, I don't think I would say good morning to you or anything like that. You know, I'd give you
So
a
you just
nod.
like
We do
in and
like
out.
a curt nod. Here's the
Yes.
things. I'm moving on, and I'm heading up to my room.
Yeah, and I'll be running off. Uh,
Great interaction.
yeah, that's about all we need at like I don't know, 7 or something in the morning,
Yeah.
6 something,
Yeah,
and I'll
at the
be
crack
running
of
off
dawn.
to Artica,
Nice.
parcel in hand.
So would you describe your character as a morning person?
No,
Okay.
there's one activity that he likes in the morning, and that's admiring himself. But if he had it his way, he would go back to sleep until the sun is high.
Okay. Well, you basically have it your way. Do you think that there would be too much of an interaction with Arctica? Or would it just be like drop it off on the stoop and then it just.
Well, the thing is, Ulu finds Arctica almost, almost good looking. Just about there. And that is very rare, especially on the land. You know, since he's arrived on the land, he's not used to, the humanoids here looking pretty in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But Arctica is special.
All those filthy mammals.
And Arctica doesn't know how special they are. And Ulu wants to share this information with Arctica. How do you think Arctica would respond to?
Pretty bird must figure out how bird flies. Make friends with bird. Make notes on bird. Hopefully get to probe bird. See how bird procreates, eats. So Arctica would tip the bird very generously. She will try throwing bird seeds, and then she'd try leaving pretty little trinkets and stuff, trying to play with the bird. She's just
Okay,
hella
it's really
curious.
mechanical.
She's just very, very curious. It's just new creature.
Mm-hmm.
And so she didn't interact, and was very kind of want to take notes on this species.
Too busy
Pretty
taking
birdie.
internal notes to speak, basically.
Kind of. So she just kind of watches the bird and watches it and just scribbles while watching it. Very curious.
Okay. So presumably after this interaction, so it seems like one of our characters is probably going to go back to bed. We'll go back to the initiative order for what happens after that. For Arctica, what is Arctica's actual plan for the day now that we've resolved the inter part?
Today's plans, I am locating cookbooks for Neoterra. I am going through my library and journals of all my travels and pulling up recipes and compiling them into a volume for Neoterra.
Okay, so it's a work day basically of okay,
It's basically a work day. It's basically a work and research day.
Okay, so that's probably going to take up most of the day. So let's go to our final character that we haven't talked to yet, which is Knob. So what is Knob up to? When does Knob get up?
Nob is just a traveler, just kind of like a scholarly historian. So he's just passing through the town. So he's just staying at the inn. Just kind of happens to have come into town just around the time the trouble started.
Yeah, and now there's no way out because the trade caravans start going through
and
anymore.
everybody's panicking and going, "What the fuck is going on?" So, Nub's kind of been kind of just kind of racking his brain a little bit to try to figure out if he can help out with what the hell's going on right now. And at the same time, he's kind of just bored out of his head for the most part. So his routine in the last couple of weeks has been extremely boring. He basically has the magical means to repair and clean his shit. So that's pretty much the first thing he does is just maintains his equipment and just kind of keeps it all in top shape. And then after that, goes down to the common room and figures out some kind of a meal. I don't know. I don't out of character. I don't know what the race relations are in this setting.
Generally,
how-
not like there wouldn't be like a large it wouldn't be a big deal, basically.
Okay, so the common room doesn't really bat an eye that there is a rock gnome
No,
hanging out there.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the characters who we never got a physical description of is a literal gem encrusted dragon thing. So they're used to seeing much
totally-
weirder things.
That's totally not weird.
the general vibe is like people who come here tend to be specialists. So it's just whoever happens to be,
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So basically, he just picks up some breakfast, and at the inn he's staying at, and well, I don't know what time of day are we at right now.
Well, I was going through like starting like the beginning and then just sort of what is the plan for the day to get a sort of interaction with like what the plan. So what kind of relationship do you think that your character would have with Cobb?
I mean, I guess we're all staying in this magical single inn of the town.
It looks like 3 of you are. I actually had intended for the party to all have houses, but most of you are layabouts and like vagabonds. So it just ended up being that only one of you has a house.
Are a vagabond.
You were definitely a vagabond by definition, but vagabonds are people who travel from place to place.
I don't really engage that much with people in general. I spend a lot of time in books, so I'd rather just be back in my room and
So kind of like
through my library of books that I'm carrying around with me somewhere.
yeah. So when you're getting food in the morning, like presumably from Cobb, though, again, like it's possible to get it from Rhea, though,
Well, no, I don't really know people in town that much, so
Yeah.
I'm just going the easiest option, which is the
Yeah. So just
the provided amenities.
so like whatever the normal thing is at the inn, that meal, whatever the innkeeper decides to make, it's just, hey, food is good.
Yeah.
Like, thank you very much. So here's a question about the dynamic. Is it more of like a aloof kind of like, yes, whatever, you exist, I guess, or is it more of like
I'd probably go down and grab some food and take it back up to my room.
just like pick it up off the counter, like, okay, there's a system involved.
And they've gotten used to this dynamic, so there's they know to expect it. So I just leave a few coppers on the counter and go back up with it.
This is great. I might not have to make any NPCs.
It's like this Cobb guy. What use is he anyway?
Yeah, it's like, okay, Cobb exists.
Somebody ostensibly owns this inn.
Yeah, he has a personality. When he's just cleaning up something or something, he's kind of at a distance where it's like there's no social expectation to actually communicate. If that makes any sense. Where it's if he's just standing there next to the food, there's the expectation that you will make eye contact and greet. So Cobb acknowledges you when you come down, just kind of looking at you and a friendly nod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, having generally I'm well tolerated. I don't cause any trouble. I'm quiet. There isn't any and I've been there now for a couple of weeks, right? So
Yeah, just quiet. And so, people who run ins are very tend to know what it is that people want with regards to like, do you want me to be saying hello to you, or do you actively want me to just acknowledge that you exist and move on with my life, right? Like, and that. So I feel like I get the idea that Cobb would be just kind of like, oh, there's the person. I'll give them the space that they need so they can go make explosions upstairs again.
And I've heard the other day that there's going to be something significant happening in the evening or whenever today. So I'm looking forward to that because I want to help with whatever the hell's going on because I'm mostly bored and it might be a good opportunity to find some cool new shit.
I feel like for the most part, this isn't really a town with like things to hide in that regard. This isn't like a secret. This is something where it's like you're a traveler who's come to town at exactly the wrong time, and like the innkeeper is gonna be pretty open and honest about that with you, particularly since you seem chill. Just so Cobb would have told you basically, what the problem is, and what is what the town's thinking. And you also literally live in the inn, so when everybody comes home at the end of the day and is drinking after work, which luckily booze lasts a long time. There's a lot of booze. You're not going to run out of that. That is the one thing this town is in no risk of running out of before everyone dies of starvation. So you're
Good expiry dates on that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you would be aware of pretty much what goes on, either from hearing it from Cobb directly, because this is something that Cobb would at some point have made a point, even though you're not necessarily that talkative, to say, look, this is the situation, here's what's going on, we've got this problem, and blah, blah, blah. But beyond that, you would also be in the inn, so you'd be hearing people yelling about it at night and moaning into their teacups. Except they don't have any tea, because
That was the first thing to go.
that was the first thing to run out. They're all English. Any tea in the vicinity just disappears immediately. They're not English, but that's beside the point. Okay, so and after that, you'll probably just be chilling in your room until we gather things up for our evening extravaganza.
Unless the town has some kind of scholarly facilities, which a farming community probably does not.
The closest thing to a scholarly facility is Artica's house, which is basically just books. It's practically constructed out of books. So, functionally speaking, it's the town library. But I don't know how much Artica lets other people into it. I don't know the dynamic
so
there.
I probably have heard of her, and I may have tried to make contact with her, but her being her probably is like, yeah, no gnomes allowed.
Do you have food?
Do you have food? Do you have food or interesting information you are willing to barter?
Well, interesting information I always have to barter.
In the form of a book that is readable.
I am a scholar after all.
None of that machine crap. No machines in my space. I do not like the vibrations of them.
Isn't your whole character backstory that you're making a machine?
Yes, but it's magic. I do not want microwaves or 5G things messing with my gemstones.
Gotcha.
Oh, so you're like an anti-vaxxer or something too.
No,
This is...
no, not that. I just don't believe in tech. I view tech with great suspicion.
Yes, an artificer is not an actual crafter of mechanical things.
Look, it just makes me very uncomfortable because where artificers are, things go boom, and books are combustible. I find you a menace to society.
Well, I find you a menace to society because you're
Mm.
hoarding perfectly good knowledge.
So that's
Yeah,
those
so that you
build
can't
characters
destroy
relationships.
it.
I like this
Well,
character dynamic.
Well, what good is it to you sitting on these pedestals, making up
To
the
be
walls of your
protected
dwelling?
and preserved from the unworthy, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get anywhere with this one. I'm just gonna stay in my room.
I love it.
Provide me with some useful information in the form of a buck. Damn it. Give me a buck or some useful thing you can come up with.
I mean, it may not be a book, but
Do you have tea? I could do tea.
But what I do
That's where all
have,
the tea went.
what I do have, is I have a piece of paper with a mysterious clue as to the existence of a ruin of an ancient artificial civilization, and they may have some interesting technologies that may help you with your research.
Do they have a library, buried scrolls, or books? I do not care about their.
Well, it is a ruin of their civilization. They may well have a library there.
May well have is not they have. I'm not digging around some ruins because some 2-bit gnome called Knob asked.
Well,
This is not how this works. We do not put out for knobs for free on sketchy information.
well, fine. If I
No
find
money, no
something,
honey, no
if I
proof
find
either.
something more, I just won't let you know. I mean,
This
I
is not how
figured-
negotiations are conducted.
I
Empty
figured-
promises and nothing. Bullshit.
I figured a purveyor of knowledge like you would be interested in information about a lost civilization.
That's just a fucking rumor. There's been 5 lost civilizations in the last 3 days. What's so special about yours?
Well, mine came from a very respected source that I personally can vouch for. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but this is a lot more credible to me than most of the rumors that you hear.
I don't know you. You are a gnome called Knob.
That's Knob Tinkerwiz to you.
Okay, Mr. Wiz. Whiz off till you have
Knob-
actually
Knob
something concrete.
Tinkerwiz. That's the full name for you. We're apparently not friends.
How do
Whiz
I?
off until you have proper information. You're wasting my time. Time is money, friend. Shoo shoo.
Okay, you just stealing my racist fucking comments too.
I have books about gnomes. Clearly, you are not a very smart gnome, so. Until you have good info. Or anything that's not someone told you there's a ruin.
I have a question. How are you all rolling dice?
With a button of rolling the dice.
Oh, wait, I actually do have perception. Can I actually use perception to see if he's telling the truth?
That would be insight.
Do I have insight?
Yeah,
I
everybody
mean,
has insight.
everybody has insight.
Ooh, can I try intimidation? Can I try intimidating the gnome to, like, see if he's, like, real? You know, I'm trying to use
Real?
fear.
A real gnome?
No, like, not to see if he's real, but to see, like, you know, if I, like, am mean to him, whether his story will crumble, or if he's, like, fucking with me about some stupid civilization because he's a filthy little gnome.
If you're looking for information about his motives, that would be insight. You could
Huh.
try to intimidate to, like, change his behavior, but I generally frown upon doing conversational skills like that with other PCs, except under rare circumstances, and then it's not binding.
Am I not allowed to intimidate a gnome, like, threaten to set him on fire or something? No?
You're not allowed to intimidate other players because it's a skill check that takes agency out of the hands of the player. The NPCs
fine.
are the targets of things like the intimidate check. You could try to intimidate the character with RP, right? That's a thing you can do, but that would
Okay,
be
no, I'm just gonna do an insight check. Can I do an insight check on this weirdo gnome?
absolutely go for it.
So you click ding. Wow. That's a pretty high insight check there.
It's a 19. So, interesting.
Sorry, that's the cat.
I'm curious. Is there a way for you to do a hidden roll? Ooh, yes,
yes.
you can see how it's hidden. You
I can change the send to.
Okay, so if you
So I can send a roll to you directly only.
okay, send me a Deception roll for me.
Did that go to you? Did anybody else see the roll?
I got it. Did anyone else see that roll? Okay,
Good.
we're still working out the tech here. Okay, so let's see. So, are you telling the truth?
Yes.
Well, so as far as you can tell, Artica, he's telling the truth. You're pretty sure that this is something that at least he believes, right? And I'd say based off of that insight, you'd say this seems like a reasonably intelligent individual. So it's not like some random it's not some random conspiracy theorist. This is like an actual serious scholar who is saying that this is a thing, not like
Okay, fine. My interest is aroused. I listened to him.
Okay, so you have listened to me, and I've shown you this mysterious clue that appears in my inventory as a mysterious clue as to the existence of a ruined and ancient artificial civilization. So I have shown this clue to you, and you are, maybe you want to do some kind of a roll to be intrigued by it or not.
I would, but to roll, I'd have to turn, and there's a cat on me right now.
you
So
don't-
can I
you don't
just
need to do
believe
a roll.
you?
You don't need to do a roll for that. As far as you can tell, this person's telling the truth. So it's just a matter of how interested you are. Like, how interested is your character in this civilization, right? Like, that's the thing that's important.
Quite interested. It's an ancient civilization, dusty ruins, new books. Even if there's some hieroglyphics on a wall, my character's into that shit. Documenting that kind of stuff, pretty cool. Plus, this whole place is getting a bit depressing with the lack of stuff. Maybe it's time to go somewhere else.
So yeah, so I then, if we have some kind of agreement, we're kind of just been talking about this. I mean, I've been stuck here for a couple of weeks, so I'm assuming we had this conversation not on the last day.
Yeah, this would have been a conversation you had a while ago.
Yeah. So we have been cooperating in potentially looking a little bit more into the particular nature of this clue. I'm assuming that this clue might have some kind of diagrams or writing that is in a language that we can't quite understand, or something like a fragment of something that just looks obviously old and hard to fake.
Yeah.
And
I would like
yeah.
you to give me. So, Artica, would this person now have access to your aid with regards to trying to piece together information about this thing that they've got?
Yep, they would have my aid.
Okay,
It's
so
intriguing enough, and I'm bored enough.
I'd like you to give me a history check with advantage. You can actually both give me a history check with advantage if you're both working on it, but specifically, Nob needs a history check with advantage with the aid of this relatively impressive library for a place out in the middle of nowhere. It's surprising how many books you can fit in a reasonably small space. That's a nat 20. And let's see. And was that sent to just me, or was that sent to the whole group?
It was sent to
I don't
everyone.
know.
But I don't know if that applied it correctly. No, I don't think it's applied. Is it?
It should roll twice and then take the higher of the two.
At twice? No. I have Artificer's Lore, which is at twice your proficiency bonus to history checks related to magic items, alchemical objects, or technological devices.
Oh, well, yeah, that would be something you'd have to add manually. So you have a 21 there?
So that was a 19. So my proficiency bonus, where on this page is it?
It should be +2. Okay, so you have a 21 and a 23 from a nat 20. So, I mean, this is easy to piece together. Like, between the two of you, just sort of working together, it's like, oh, Actually, I have exactly the book that we need to cross-reference to figure out exactly where you would find sort of like the location that this is from, right? And so this is from some sort of like subterranean civilization, and you think that you can cross-reference from some of the stuff that you see within, like, you've got all these books of all this random shit, and like, oh, okay, this is a book about geology, and this is a book about historical trading routes, and this is a book about this, that, or the other thing. You're reasonably sure that you can sort of cross-reference to figure out where there would be like a reasonably nearby, like within a few like weeks journey at the very least. You're reasonably sure that you could find an entry point that would get you near where this sort of like civilization's like wherever this particular object came from, that civilization's uh, territory. I can word. Words are good. So between the two of you, you are able to piece that together with 2 rolls that are over 20.
Sweet.
Alright, I actually need to go AFK for just a second. I'll be right back. But how about the two of you just chit-chat? You're there. What does it look like when the two of you have successfully done this together?
I am shocked that it's an actual thing. And we have a lead.
Oh, ye of little belief.
I attribute the success to the lucky cat.
Is this one of the alter egos of the Arctale?
No. This is Cthulhu. The prime evil.
Is now done?
Bye.
So big and fluffy.
And you can see him coming to the other camera view.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Oh, he's
watching.
huge. He's a ragdoll. When he was a kitten, he was like... And then he
Yes,
just didn't
like
stop
so.
growing. And then he grew bigger than most dogs. And now he's like massive.
He's so tiny. He
Yeah.
was like practically like a teacup cat.
And then he didn't
Yeah,
stop
there's
growing.
also just big, chunky, fluffy children. Come here.
Yes, the washing machine.
Yeah,
He
Oh,
likes
he
to
loves
hang out in the washing machine.
Especially inside it.
yes.
There he goes.
Bye. Yep.
Pete, there's a
So
fresh
cute.
load of towels in there.
Yep.
Our new towels are going to be covered in cat fur.
I mean, that's nothing new.
He just sheds a lot.
I can imagine with that hair.
I now have 6 cats. I can see it everywhere.
His hair is like super long and very fine, so it just gets everywhere. Can you attach his like feather on the door?
I guess.
Then he just like jumps for it, and then he doesn't mew as much.
Baby.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes.
Where you going?
He's looking right at it.
Yep.
He's so cute. I love him. He's so easily entertained.
You are muted.
There's like a second view on my screen.
Yeah. 2 times your cat. The most important. Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
I am back, and I have realized I need to ask for a couple of rolls from people. So, Arthi, if you could give me 2 d20 rolls, Just a flat d20.
Uh,
And-
what?
So there's a die icon on the top left of the window.
Die icon on the top left of the window. What talking
Bottom
about?
left, bottom left.
Let's see. And Pete, I will need one from you as well. Just give me a flat d20 roll that I can use to my purposes.
Hmm.
Let's see, trying to figure out how I do rolls myself on this.
1 second, I'm just gonna warm my tea.
Okay. Wait, can I roll for you? Can I do
Is that a
that?
thing?
Is that a thing I can do? Can I just like roll somebody else's? I can roll somebody else's stats? I love being the DM. Cool. Cool. I love it.
Okay.
I like it a lot. No, not at all.
Stealthy.
This is great. Okay, so I was actually I just clicked on a random thing because I was wondering how I'm supposed to actually roll. And let's see here. Where is my? Okay, so let's see. Give me a moment to figure things out. So we've got 3 custom rolls that went out. So there's a okay, so that's something that we'll need to resolve later. And let's see. I will wait for Arthur to go back from playing with the cat, apparently.
It's important.
It is important.
It's very
It's
important.
critically important.
When must appease the cat deity?
Indeed. The alternative is not good. It's not a great alternative. Okay. Arthur, can you hear us? No, she's got her thing on. All right. So, I have amazing news for Artica. Artica, you woke up this morning with a pounding headache. It sucks. But I have good news. Just for the sake of narrative flair, I'm going to say that today is the day that y'all
Oh my
finished your
god, is it
research.
Thurlin Blossoms? Is it the Thurlin Blossoms? Can I roll perception? I'm sure I have this.
You can roll history. I'll give you a DC 5.
Oh, you said history.
I did say history, but I don't think that you're going to get lower than 5. Thurlin blossoms cause
You're
headaches. And they have a property that causes headaches, which is what causes the other things to not come in.
rolled-
That's the
She rolled less
barrier.
than 5.
Did she?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what we're
Yeah.
hoping.
I saw 13.
No,
That's
no.
a perception.
That's
No,
a
no, I rolled
The
5.
history check
I
was
rolled
4.
13.
No, you only need to roll once. I'm not taking the perception. I'm not taking the thing. It's what? It's history?
His
Yeah, Artica has
four.
No, because that wasn't the roll. The roll was the 8. I'm not making them re-roll again. That's just a weird way to handle things. You had the roll that you had. Yeah, it's 8 plus 5.
Rolls was a inadvertent perception roll.
Yeah, it was perception instead of the thinger, right?
But you get different modifiers on it, right?
Yeah, but the modifier it's 8 plus 3. Actually, yeah, it's 8 plus 3, so it's still
Yeah.
more than 5. Though it is kind of funny. You know what? Never mind, Artica.
Oh.
Just for the hell of it, just for the sake of how funny it is that you rolled a nat 1, which is literally the only way you could fail a DC 5 history check, you have no idea why you have a headache. It's unclear. It's probably unclear because you have a headache and you can't think straight. So that's why you don't know why you have a headache. But everyone else knows, and it's kind of funny that you don't. So, I have mentioned this many times already. So, you wake up with a headache. So I guess you were not feeling great when you woke up in the morning. So mistakes were made. But
That explains half of that interaction.
the two of you with your, various roles, um, the it feels so. It feels a little weird that there's just like this underground civilization that like nobody knows about, and it's like the entry is like just over here, and like there's just some like there's something that feels off about it. Like you're sure that you've done your math, but at the same time it feels too easy that like okay, so it's just there. Okay, fine. We can just go and make an expedition tomorrow. We've done our research. It took us a couple of weeks, but we figured out exactly where to go. It feels suspiciously simple. So I will give you that with the roles that you have obtained here. So there you go. So everyone has. So presumably the two of you have been basically just working on this kind of stuff, and that's what this day was spent doing, is just working on that stuff. And other things, though, like all sorts of random shenanigans have occurred. So let's see here. Does anyone else have anything that they in particular want to do before we sort of fast forward toward more like post work hours where people are going to get together and start chit chatting about what's going on? I'm guessing that's a no. I see one person shaking their head, the only person giving me any sort of emote or verbal conclusion. It's fine.
Well, I was thinking that I would want to interact with some NPCs,
Okay.
but I don't know how.
Well, who do you think that you would have some ties to? Like what kind of like
Who started giving me this job? Or giving me the idea of having this job?
Job is a bit of a strong word. I feel like
Errands.
you kind of just do errands for people. So I would imagine that you do errands throughout the day for a bunch of different people, right? So if you wanted to go around just doing like random errands, delivering things to people, stuff like that, throughout the day, we could go through some of the various NPCs and whatever your relationship with them is. Is that something that you wanted to do?
Kind of.
Okay. So what like so
Fetch quest.
what was the relationship that you had with Cobb? I think we kind of established that. Or did we even, because
No.
you were basically getting stuff from Rhea, right? So
Yeah.
that would have been relatively early in the morning. And let's see here. So yeah, I mean, Cobb would probably, it wasn't that early though, so Cobb would probably be awake and getting basic shit done. So yeah, you would see Cobb there, and you probably have work that you're doing for Cobb later in the day, just like delivering stuff to people or whatever. So what do you think your relationship is like with Cobb? Good, just determines the way they greet you.
I don't know anything about Cobb.
Okay, well, Cobb would be basically sort of like the central. I guess nobody knows anything about Cobb because nobody wants to.
You mentioned Cobb so much.
Nobody wants to talk to Cobb. Okay.
I talk to Cobb, but
Cobb is kind of like the archetypal, like, not the archetypal innkeeper, but more like the archetypal person who knows, like, what makes a good innkeeper. Someone who knows, okay, this person, they want me to talk to them. This person, they don't want me to talk to them. They're good at mirroring what people are looking for, right? And so, you show them, like, positive exuberance, you kind of get that back, right? If you show them, like, indifference, they back off, right? So, yeah, I would say that if you have like an established relationship and you've actually been talking to Cobb, because I kind of got the impression that everyone's been just giving Cobb the cold shoulder this whole time.
My character would talk to Cobb.
Okay, well, then when you come in and you're collecting the stuff from Rhea, Cobb's like, oh, hey Ulu, how's it going? This long silence and looking to the side, very bird-like, all in character.
It is a character.
It's the hardest question I've ever asked someone.
Just like a long pause and then it's good.
Well, that's great. You off to go deliver stuff to the scholar?
Yes. Scholar.
Yep. The politest word I can use. Not very friendly, that one.
Oh. Well, it must be hard to have friends, looking that beautiful.
Cobb gets you kind of like
The beautiful scholar, yes?
actually, I'm gonna have Cobb roll an insight check. Cobb kind of is giving you a once over.
Why does Cobb not like me? What did I do to Cobb?
You just seem generally unfriendly to people, so it's not that Cobb doesn't like you exactly, it's just like
You're relatively withdrawn in a rude way.
Cobb has probably never talked to you.
Oh, you're muted.
To be fair, Cobb probably tried to use pages from a notebook to wipe up some shit and now got pissed.
I don't think that that's accurate. But let's see here. Sorry, I need to figure out how to roll dice. Actually, give me a sec. Where the fuck did I put my dice?
You need real dice?
Doing the thing.
Yeah, he brought real dice and then he forgot where he put it.
Because I don't see a dice thing on my
What are you looking at? Oh, I'm not DM. I can't see what he's doing.
It's funny because this dice box is always visible, and today it's just not visible. Oh, there it is. I'm just too short to see it. Alright, I'm gonna roll my dice manually.
Okay.
Because I think that's fun, and I'm the
Sure.
DM. I get to do the fun thing. Because I don't need to prove to y'all what I rolled. So let's see here. So what kind of die does our dear friend Cobb get? I think Cobb is going to get yellow because corn is yellow. Like corn on the cob. It was very funny. It was very
Yes.
funny. Y'all just didn't get it. Y'all didn't just oh god.
I saw it coming,
Oh.
so I just kept quiet.
That's a 1. I rolled a
Oh.
natural 1 on the first NPC roll of the entire damn game.
Wonderful.
So, with that, so what does your character feel about, is there is this something where it's budding romance type of feelings, or is this just you're fine. You're better than the rest of these people. You're reasonably good looking, but not that kind of interest.
Just that the person looks really good, not like a romance.
Okay. So since I rolled that natural 1, Cobb is pretty much convinced that you two have been secretly boning. And so Cobb just kind of gives you a sly wink and goes, yeah, I get you. 100%. I understand.
I'm glad you do.
And if you want, you could roll an insight to determine whether you actually get where they're going, or you could just not.
Oh no, I don't. I wouldn't care. And then I just like,
Yeah.
you know, turn. I flourish, and then I walk away gracefully.
Always gracefully.
Always gracefully with the delivery.
Okay, have fun out there. I'll have
Put
you.
my
I'll
head
have.
back in.
I'll have your food
What?
ready in a few hours. Because you usually eat later, right?
Oh, okay. That's the response. Leave.
I love it. I love it. Yay, Cobb got a voice line.
Finally.
Yeah.
So sad.
I appreciate it. Less work for me.
And he rolled a nat 1.
And I rolled a nat 1 on. Nat 1s and nat 20s are both really fun. I like nat 1s and nat 20s.
Yeah, it makes things easier.
Generally, for the players, a nat 1 is like for insight, is like you don't know shit. But that's not nearly as fun as a nat 1 giving you the opposite. But I don't want to tell the players something that they didn't get, so they don't get the opposite. But with an NPC, they can do the opposite. That's the fun thing. Okay, so you go out and sort of do all of your shenanigans, presumably.
Did you create any other characters?
Yeah, I have a bunch of characters in this town. There's a blacksmith. There's all sorts of other characters in this town.
You have
They'll
the
presume-
characters in your head.
I have a text document next to me that I can look at. But
Okay.
I don't remember their names, but I remember in my head what they are vaguely.
That's what's important.
I even know what the town's
Their
called.
name is not important.
The town's called Arnhem. Bet you didn't know that. The town's called Arnhem.
You know,
The town is called Thurlian Point, like a couple of days ago.
It's called Arlen now.
Well, good job finding out a name.
It's actually Thurland Point. You're right. This Arnhem thing was something that I wrote prior, and so
Neo's about to like erase Thurlian Point.
I like Thurland Point more than Arnhem. It doesn't deserve a real name.
Speaking of which, you know, sometime during my 2 weeks of stay, I would have gotten a tour of the facilities in the town. So, what is in this town?
Not a lot. So this is a very tiny, place. So there's basically a butcher who processes the stuff that comes in from the hunters. So there's a butcher, there's the inn, and there's everyone's individual sort of homesteads where some people live in groups and some people live by themselves. Just basically just whatever little house maybe a couple of people could throw together in an afternoon for the most part. Some of it's more involved than that, but there's not really a lot of manual laborers around. There's a couple of people who sort of actually work I hesitate to call it field because it would be more equivalent to a greenhouse, right? Because it's a very controlled thing. And then there's a bunch of other people who are involved in the processing of soil, the processing of certain type of mystical energy. There's processing of this, that, or the other thing. Artica is involved in making sure that the appropriate balance of this, that, or the other thing is done in the soil itself to make sure that the plant can actually grow correctly. And then you have the hunters, which there's just the two of. And then you have just sort of random workers who do things that are incredibly important to the production of Thurlin. But I have not come up with the specific details of exactly how Thurlin is processed, so they have very important jobs that I don't know the details of.
Wait, I'm having a headache. Is there a doctor or some kind of a person I could go to? Because if I woke up with a headache, I don't like that.
Oh
Right.
wait,
I
maybe I
would
can
try to
help
get
you with
checked
this.
out.
Maybe I can help you with this because we have been hanging out. I actually
I
have
also
the,
speak Gnomish.
I have the capacity to actually, apply some minor healing on you.
So
Excuse me. You want to heal me?
I mean, if you're fine keeping your headache. I mean, I don't really care.
the headache is not causing HP damage, by the way. It's just a nuisance.
I mean, it's up to you if you'd like me to attempt to mitigate your headache.
It's fine. No, thank you.
Okay. Your choice.
By the way, you have a headache about 50% of days.
Oh,
You have good days and you have bad days, but about half the time you wake up with a
Why
headache.
am I so headachy?
Because some people just have a bad reaction to the barriers. So you just have headaches.
Why the
decent portion
hell
of the
am I
time.
in the place that grows the damn flowers that's giving me headaches?
There's actually less of it. It's less concentrated here than it is in like a city or something. Because in the city, they're using like a refinery process. It would probably be worse in the city than it is where you actually grow the shit. Because of the way that the dynamics of how the barrier works. But it sucks. headaches are shitty. But yeah, your headache goes away like within probably a few 4 or 5 hours. You know. You woke up at 3 a.m. It's fine. By the time you're finished meditating, it's mostly an inconvenience.
And I mean, you've gotten really good at meditating through headaches at this point.
That might be a good portion of the reason why you started doing meditating. Okay, so are we ready to move into I guess we're mostly in. We've been doing everything in the inn, and we might as well keep that up because there's no real town center. You just have like houses and buildings that are put where people put them because there's not really much. There's not a lot of people to space ratio because you grow the plant here. There's a pretty big barrier here, right? The barrier here is pretty broad. It's not like a tiny area because there's so much of the plant here. So you've got this reasonably large barrier that just sort of naturally erects around the town. So people have all sorts of space to play with. But there isn't really a town center because there's just not enough people. There's only like a few dozen people in town. So the inn is where people sort of like hang out and drink and be sociable. And not everyone does. Some people don't like go to the inn. They basically just, when they're done with work, they're like, oh good, I can go home and pretend that other people don't exist for a while. Which is 100% valid.
Is there an onsen type situation or a bathhouse?
There's spells for
An
that.
oil puddle? Like like a masseuse type thing? A gem shiner? Someone to like polish the gems on my back? I don't know, like...
these sound like town stuff, like big town.
There's probably, I mean, there's got to be a source of water nearby,
There
and
has to be a bathhouse.
with
Surely there's a masseuse parlor somewhere.
I don't think
Where
that,
are all the essential services in this place?
I don't think that there would be a bathhouse, actually.
I mean, it depends on the culture. If they're communal bathing is a thing, or it's more about individual, like enclosed bathing spaces.
I think there might be a pond, and you have access to soap, and different people have different hygiene standards. That's
Is
what
it a
my
nice, pretty moonlit pond?
I mean,
No, it's probably
when the moon's
covered.
when the moon's out. I don't think it would be scum covered. I think because people wouldn't want to bathe in that. But yeah, there's probably some body of water nearby, just like a pond or something that people sort of rinse themselves off in. Which sounds very weird coming from a modern perspective, but a bathhouse is a huge utility that like a tiny town would not. If you don't have access to plumbing yet, that's a really fucking big deal.
A pond doesn't sound like a very good place to have to be using soap around, though, because there is no inflow and outflow of water from it.
A river.
Yeah, I mean,
Some flowing
Pond-
water
a
would
pond
be a good
with a-
idea.
maybe that's why there's no scum in it because it's everything in it died from all the soap.
It's like there's no scum. There is just soap.
There's just soap
No.
scum. That's the only scum that's in that pond. That pond is full of soap
And human grind.
and human grime and disgusting things.
Gnome, I want to think where we build something to purify this pond. I want a pool. Can you work on making me a
let's
pool?
work on that.
You've actually been here a while, so it's entirely possible you've come up with some sort of process that allows you
Yes.
to change out the water.
He's turned my pond into an onsen-style bathhouse. Can I make this happen?
Well, no, you've been here a while. Knob hasn't.
I've only been here a couple of weeks.
You've been here a while, so it's possible that you did something or got people to do something. I don't know. You can't just make an onsen because you need natural springs for that. But
A fake onsen, a frozen.
there
Like, they
are
have fake onsens in Singapore all the time, like that.
yeah, but Singapore
We also
has
have
plumbing.
Are you telling me we can't figure out plumbing in this podunk place?
No, not from
My
like a
house
modern
doesn't have
perspective.
plumbing.
We
No,
have horticulture.
Where do I
and
poop?
plumbing.
you do it the way the wizards do it in Harry Potter. You just poop somewhere and then you make it vanish. You just magic it away.
Magic.
You have
You're a
something that
you're a
comes by-
spellcaster. I hope you took prestidigitation because prestidigitation lets you make your clothes clean.
And I mean, it
Pee
can
your
unsoil
pants,
things,
prestidigitation.
right?
Yeah, it
I mean,
unsoils
it can
things.
Unsoil things. That pretty much could say getting rid of poo too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the most gimmicky spell in existence, pretty much.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's the type of spell that people take to deal with their poop.
And keep their clothes clean.
Yeah, from the poop. That's the great thing. You can just poop your pants, and then you clean the pants. You don't even have to take them
Wow.
off first.
And it's a cantrip, so you
Okay.
basically just cast it whenever.
Yeah.
Lord.
God, can you imagine? Because this is, technically speaking, this is just accurate. This is the way that the spell works. How filthy must wizards be? Because they spend all their time like reading books and shit. You think they're going to the outhouse? No. They're just peeing their pants and then casting prestidigitation to get rid of it.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
And I'm sure there's plenty of wizards who have actual good hygiene. But you never know. You never know what type of wizard you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
See, if it was a like inventive wizard, they would, imbue a bag of holding into their pants.
Bag of holding diaper. This is horrifying and glorious. But yeah,
Okay, move on.
hygiene in the Middle Ages, not great.
This is also artificer humor, right? So
Yeah. Okay, so
This is
basic.
why my character dedicates itself to books.
Yeah,
right,
That's fair.
that's great that you dedicate yourself to books, but where does your poop go?
that's
Go to the toilet.
that's
Like a normal person. Like a normal dragonborn. You know what? No,
You
actually.
mean a hole in the
Okay.
ground?
No. Can I fly? Can I, like, fly and poop on things? That's what I do.
no.
I
You can't
poop on
fly.
gnomes.
You can't fly.
So I can't fly
Why,
and
why,
projectile
why are
poop?
you so racist? I don't understand. Where did this come from?
I mean,
No, this gnome is just
Childhood
particularly
trauma.
annoying.
Childhood trauma.
I also speak gnomish, so let's just say that gnomes. They
Well,
just have no respect for knowledge.
They
I-
have
I
no
yeah,
Yeah,
gnomes, famously.
I throw a random curse at Artica in dragon speak.
Alright, so I'm gonna move us to the inn, and then we'll just collect all these NPCs that I have names for in the thing. Well, except one. One of these NPCs that has a name does not show up because they are missing. So, at the inn, you basically have, like, the town just kind of talking about, like, what the hell are we gonna do, right? And there's not really... The town doesn't have a leader in the classic sense, right? Like, it's not like there's a mayor, right? Because that's a redundant position that we don't need, and we'd have to pay them. So, fuck that noise. We don't need that shit. So, probably Cobb is the one who's kind of taking on that role because it's Cobb's business that this is taking place in, and Cobb basically knows everyone. But there's probably a few people that y'all have, or at least some of you have never seen before that show up because they go do their job and go back home and they don't spend any time around other people. I would presume that all of you would be invested enough in starving to death that y'all would show up to this meeting. I guess that's an assumption I shouldn't make off the top of my head. But I'm going to take your silence as consent. You're all here.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So anyway, so Cobb is just sort of like saying, okay, so it's been weeks. We've got about 4 weeks of supplies left, give or take. We go past that point, things get really bad. And it takes about 2 weeks to reach the nearest town. We really need to send someone, like, tomorrow. Like, or tonight. But we need to pull the trigger on this, because if we don't get this done now, then bad things happen in a few weeks, and we need to do something now. And so you have people who are like, it's fine, whatever. When I was your age, this happened every Tuesday or whatever. There's always someone who's got some, I'm old and things sucked then. But most people are pretty much just like, yes. So, what do we do? And no one really seems to have a clear idea of what they want done. Right? So, like, some of the ideas that have been thrown around over the past time period is sending someone with some Thurlin blossoms in their pocket and hoping it lasts them long enough to get to the next town, which they know it won't. And otherwise that they don't get killed by monsters along the way, which, depending on how strong the people they said, maybe. So going to the nearest town. Some people are like, no, we need to mount a search operation for...
Wait, how does travel happen in this setting then? I mean, if people can't move around. I mean, they're travelers. Obviously, we came here.
I'm glad you asked, because all of the merchants travel with big carts, and a portion of the storage space on that cart is devoted to Thurlin blossoms. So basically,
we're a farm. Why don't we just have a fucking cart with blossoms? Surely the farm that's backed up with this flowers has a lot to send us out with a whole cart full.
There's a lot of it here, but there isn't the materials to bring it somewhere. So you can bring
We do
an
not
amount.
have a cart.
You don't have a large, like, horse-drawn wagon that you could travel along main roads for several weeks on.
Okay, what if we tear down this inn, use the wood, and hitch it to the gnome, and then the gnome could pull the cart?
Okay, so does anyone have any suggestions that aren't completely insane?
I look at... Wait, Nob is present, yes?
Yeah, presumably.
Nob is presumably, yes. I mean, I live at the inn too.
Yeah, so you're like at this gathering right now?
Yes, I'm having vivid ideas of hitching this dragon person to a cart and having it.
I look at Nob and say, "You're that strong?"
I wish I was that strong.
Do you say that out loud, Ria?
Softly muttered under breath.
If you want, we could do a stealth check versus perception to see if you hear it.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Stealth versus perception.
Yeah.
I mutter under my breath. Well, if they put me in charge, I might come up with a way to pull something.
Where from a physicality perspective, where would you orient yourself? Because this is like a group of people that you've been around for like a couple of weeks, but like, are you just like diving straight into it like full engineer. Oh, we've got a problem? I have 1,000 solutions for you. Is that how you're handling this, or are you more reserved?
Well, let me double check my character traits here. Um, well, there's nothing I like more than a good mystery.
Okay.
Nice.
And emotions should not cloud their logical thinking, so, um, and, if we were to attach, a complicated array of whirling gizmos to a platform, somehow that would make it move. I'm sure that is not too complicated for us to pull off.
In one night.
Oh, sure, yeah, we can totally do it. One of my flaws is
Impressive.
overlooking obvious solutions in favor of complicated ones.
I'm
So-
already uninterested in all this and trying to sneak out the back of the inn.
So are you contributing this to like the group at large, or are you contributing this to just like?
No, I'm more just muttering to myself.
Okay.
Can I just say?
Like I'm off to the side a little bit. Like I'm just listening to the show.
Okay, Ray.
Rhea's like has their bags packed and are like sitting by a door waiting to see like if anyone's gonna look for Dune because they're gonna do it. They're gonna look for Dune by themselves if they have to because they want to hunt and they can't
Yeah.
do it without doing it around.
So there's basically like a couple of factions that have kind of developed in like the town, and this is part of why it is that people are so indecisive. But part of it is also just that people don't like making decisions, and there's no clear authority to tell them what to do, and there's not even a person who's supposed to be an expert on this. So some people might just be taking your lead specifically because you are like kind of the expert now. But like there's two basic factions where some people want to just send for help. They just want to send someone along the main roads with, as many Thurland blossoms as they can get their hands on and hope that it's enough to get back with supplies. And other people are like, hey, we have a missing person. Maybe we should find them? I mean, he has been in the town forever, and they're like, maybe we should find him first. But, from a personality perspective, not a disliked person in town, but some people might have stronger opinions than others about the general laziness of this person. So some people are just not that interested. Some people are just very, like, self-interested, like, hey, the town's gonna die if we don't resolve this. 1 second, I think I have a delivery. And so there's like sort of a mixture going on. So, one moment.
Bye.
So are your characters like engaged with like the problem? Because my character is like, not my problem, not my circus, not my
My
monkey.
my character's a little engaged, but like, I wouldn't be able to hear what Nom's saying, right?
I'm just kind of. I mean, I don't know. Do you have particularly good hearing?
Not particularly.
I mean, you could try roll perception.
Okay, I'm gonna roll perception just to see if I would hear what.
I did
And I
it.
mean, and I mean, like,
Are
the hunter probably has pretty good perception.
It's kind of so. In terms of this, it kind of depends on a couple of things. So, are you trying to actively make it so that it's too quiet to hear?
No,
Or
I'm
you're
more
just kinda muttering?
like, I'm just going like, these people are all stupid. Like,
Yeah.
this is a problem that needs solving.
Yeah. So probably the people who are immediately around you would just hear you, right? And it's just a matter of whether someone is standing next to you to hear you automatically, which is unlikely unless they have an established relationship with you, or whether they have good hearing and they're just like, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
one of the random things that's being said is this person muttering in the corner about all their plots.
I got a 10.
I got a 13. I'm just by the door though. By the front door.
Let's see here. Even though you're not technically trying, I think the easiest way to handle this, excuse me, Nah, I think DC 10 I think is sufficient for someone just kind of muttering to themselves. It's not that big a space.
Yeah, like
So,
I might not hear what you're saying, but I can hear maybe that you're muttering.
yeah. You'd be able to
Yeah, and I
hear
mean-
the gist and then get closer to
I mean, odds are I'm not in with the bulk of the people. I'm probably like somewhere near the stairs, and we can assume the stairs is maybe near the entrance.
Right. And I would try to be at the center, but now I'm moving towards the direction of the muttering to hear, what you might be saying. Stealth check.
Meanwhile, Arctica is hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
just
have
waiting.
Orbeez not closed the door?
No, I decided that sneaking out was too risky because there's a hunter in the front door and everyone's paying too much attention. So I've just sneaked kind of under the bar, grabbed a bottle of wine, and I've cracked open a book, completely disinterested. I don't really care. I am just hiding, and when everyone is done, I'll just sneak out the back. My
So-
stealth is 17.
Your
Can I
character
roll
doesn't
to
care
see
about
if I
like
see
their
that?
own well-being. Sure.
I mean,
No, she just thinks this is a human problem, and
Food will
people
run
are.
out.
You're running out
there's
of
something you
food.
care about. The food will run out.
I don't really care. I just think these people are overblowing all the issues
Oh, you think
like
they're
humans are
overreacting. Okay.
tending to do. They're always hysterical about something or the other. This is not my problem. They'll solve it eventually. They always do. It's just been like 2 weeks. No food. We'll just start eating people. Whatever. God, such babies. Gnome looks hella tasty. So, I mean, it's not exactly Arctole, but I'll do. I think I have a recipe for gnome somewhere. Just gotta convince the hunter to cook it. It's fine. Anyway, I'm reading. Not paying attention.
Okay. So
Very
That is
scary
good.
ramblings.
So y'all can kind of like push the town in kind of either direction. There's not a lot of people, so like whatever your ideas are will hold a pretty decent amount of sway because there's 4 of you
You're
and there's
pushing something forward.
and there's only 20 people or whatever, right? So like 4 people is a pretty significant number. So are y'all more interested in trying to find the person who's missing, whose name is Duyin? I remember. Maybe I could have gotten that wrong. Looking to see what Neo's expression looks like to see whether I got it right or not. Or alternatively, you could sort of try to get to, like, just immediately go to try and get to civilization as fast as possible. And of course, there's room for like, oh well, we'll look for this person for a while, and then if we don't find them within a day, we just book it, right? So there's options there. So what are you all pushing toward?
I have an idea.
You just say that really loudly.
Yeah, I have an idea.
So about like half the room
Look
is
at
probably
me.
like looking straight at you, and
Look at me.
the ambient like sound in the room just keeps like dropping lower and lower and lower as people just give you like strange looks. Go
I
ahead.
look at the bird in the corner because I'm kind of interested in what the bird's up to. So I'm just like peek my head out just like a little bit through the corner and just like watch what's happening.
I think Rhea should do it.
I'm leaning like beside the door
Rhea is a
Cross
capable hunter.
and like I'm willing to look for Duyin.
So we should just send
That's
out
all, that's all they say. Yeah.
send out the last person that knows anything about wood shit alone into the place that the last person who knew Woodlord disappeared after 40 years of working in that same damn forest.
Yeah,
Is that your suggestion?
Your people are idiots. I mean,
I can go
seriously.
Give me
too.
You have the fully skilled and featured hunters go and disappear. Now you're gonna send this youngling that, albeit might have been doing all the work, but still barely out of training. Is that what you're gonna do, idiots? Just send out an actual like party
Well,
of people
I mean-
who know what the fuck they're doing.
I mean, we need to create a group of people to do something. And, people who are good at fighting would be useful. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of fighting that happens. None of us are really qualified for that. And we don't really have any weapons. So, I guess we could ask the wizards. Like, where'd the dragon go? It is.
They're under the bar.
I
I'm
I'd have been
seriously
paying
scripting the downfall of the village. I started a new tome about the end of the village. So I'm just like documenting how the end of this little settlement begins.
so while this is all happening, I take a copper coin and
Ooh.
I imbue it with a magical property of just making an annoying like chirping sound, and I throw it behind the bar.
Yeah. And as you do, that's funny because I just rolled a nat 20 on my perception check to find Artica. So we got a 1 and then a 20. We're doing quite well right now. So Cobb is like, you're gonna have to pay for that booze, you know.
My bill's with the gnome.
The gnome has no
Yeah,
interaction
we've-
with your pocketbook.
we've heard this. We've heard this before many times. No. So, wizard, can you make fire by any chance? Ice, electricity, things that would be useful for making critters not be critters anymore and be crispy instead.
I pull out my lute and then I tell them in no uncertain terms that I know nothing in song.
Do a performance check for me.
You're all fucked. You're all fucked, and it's the end of days.
Okay.
I basically do the whole Nero thing while things are burning down, you know, and I celebrate the innkeeper and I talk about how he dies gloriously.
Go ahead and give me a performance check.
Motherfucker.
So, all that wine might not have been a great idea. You kind of slur out something about end times, bad things. No one can really quite comprehend what you're even trying to get at. And
Oh, okay. And then as my piece de resistance, I faint, like in a drunken stupor.
nice. I like it. So everyone just kind of looks and goes. Cobb's just like, guess it hits everyone different, or something. Something nice to say.
I run over to Artica's body and start like touching the gems to feel if they feel different and stuff.
And what's kind of amusing is that because like healing magic is a thing in this setting and it usually requires touch, this does not actually cause that much of confusion for people. People are just like, yeah, that seems normal. And so they just go back to their conversation while you're just like doing whatever nonsense you're doing over there with the unconscious Dragonborn. Like, as long as you don't look like you're
I'm
trying
not
to take...
unconscious. I'm faking this stupor and getting touched up by a bird. I'm
Oh.
just like...
Well, in that
very
case...
still here.
In that case, you're supposed to give me a deception check. You can't just tell me that you went unconscious when you didn't go unconscious. That's not how that works. There you go.
Oh, well,
There you go.
No way.
So since people were actively looking at you, I will give them a roll and not just use their passive. And that is a 2. So the rest of the rest of the town is pretty much just convinced that you are unconscious.
Can I roll an investigation check?
To,
Stop!
if you're gonna go like figure out what's going on, yeah.
No, I'm investigating her being fainted.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you, I would probably make that a medicine check more so than investigation. but I could see investigation
Well,
as
I'm
well.
good at investigating shit, so.
I mean, that's
So
that doesn't beat her deception, so.
Who?
She had a 22, so you have to beat the
Definitely.
22.
it's close, but I'm not quite like I'm not convinced.
Looks unconscious to you.
So just in case, though, she could be faking that. I just pull out my prestidigitation thing and just soil her like clothes just for the fuck of it.
Okay. So, Ulu, as you're sort of like going over and touching these random gemstones, all of a sudden the clothes that they are attached to get filthy. I don't know if that's relevant
Can
to your
I
interests.
attack this bitch? I want to attack this bitch.
What kind of filth we talking?
I don't know.
What kind of filth are we talking about?
I mean, let's say it's not disgusting. Let's just say it's like, very
Dirt?
dusty.
Can I shove my pan flute up his butt?
Well, you're apparently
I mean,
fainted.
you can certainly stand up and, if you want.
I stand up and attempt to shove my pan flute up his ass. How do I roll for that?
I would roll initiative. That's a 2. Okay. So now what we're going to have you do... Let's go ahead and roll for everyone else in this room that doesn't want people to randomly get assaulted in their tavern. That's higher than a 2. So it's very clear that what you're going to attempt to do before you manage to actually do it. Yes? So as you're trying to do this, we now get to the point where you have an opposed athletics roll that you get to make with your 8 strength. As the rest of the town tries to pin you down to prevent you from assaulting some random dude for no goddamn reason.
I mean, I suppose she could roll acrobatics if she's better at dex, but I don't think she is either, right?
In this particular situation, I don't even know that would be the case. So,
Hey, can I use my psychic breath weapon? Surely that works for something.
I mean, sure, you could kill the whole town if you want.
Cool.
Oh, let's not do that.
Turn my clothes to shit and this is what you get.
Well, you shouldn't have been a dick to me from the beginning.
You clearly interrupted my morning while I was having a fucking headache with some madcap story with zero fucking evidence based on your gnomish ass word.
I offered to help relieve your symptoms. I've been nothing but nice to you.
So this is in character, right?
I mean,
Okay.
so here's my curiosity. Are you using that breath weapon?
I don't even know what it is. What do I do? Like, do I
You-
get to persuade with it? Do I get cool shit with it? What do I?
You do 2d8 psychic damage in an AoE cone.
Yeah, but I don't want to damage him. I just want to.
Well, then you probably don't want to use your breath weapon in a crowded room.
Okay, I'm sorry. When you say psychic
Also-
weapon, I think that
also-
I can like make him mind control him to shove a flute up his ass.
Also-
How do I do that?
Also, shoving a flute up someone's ass when they are roughly the same length as the flute would kill them.
It don't have to go all the way in, you pervert. Just like I wouldn't get my mouthpiece up there, just like the end bit, like a couple inches or something.
Okay, well, I mean, you're currently restrained by the town. I mean,
Fine,
like,
fine. I yield. I'll just start singing to perform something so people stop bugging me.
So you have to do a performance check now.
Bro.
let's see. I think that
Can I sing my way out of this?
I think this is about the time that you are probably going to be forcibly removed from the inn and brought back to your home. Because I can't think of any other possible results from you getting drunk and then randomly, like, singing a completely incoherent song and then trying to shove your musical instrument literally up a gnome's ass Which, by the way, you're like 8 feet tall. Trying to reach the ass of a gnome that's like 3 feet tall, that requires an acrobatics check in and of itself. Even if they hadn't gotten to you, just reaching down that far before you can even make the attack roll. I mean, okay, but
I mean, she does.
regardless.
I mean, for somebody who does like stretching exercises every morning, your dexterity's shit.
I find it very funny, by the way, that you are like 8 feet tall with 8 strength. So, you are escorted in. I should probably put the quotes. You are escorted back to your residence by the hands of like a half a dozen people who basically carry
I
you
am
there.
just very pleased to be excused from this insufferable meeting that's a waste of my damn time.
You have accomplished your objective. I have no idea how you're intending to keep this character in the party, because the characters that aren't you are all going somewhere else. So, the next... So,
I thought you
now
discussed this with the players, DM.
I
Splitting the party.
I mean, look, I have
Do you have
no...
another character sheet?
I hope.
Brody?
Let's hope so. So,
Because
next on our agenda, this is not me speaking, this is Cobb speaking. Next on our agenda, we should just mute Arthur's mic. So, next on our agenda is figuring out who wants to go to do whatever we're gonna do. And it sounds like, Rhea, you want to go find your boss. Look, I don't know how he could have gotten... That man doesn't go 12 feet out of this town. Okay, I don't know how, like, what happened, but it's not surprising that he would get hurt because he's not that competent, but at the same time, he doesn't take any risks. I don't know how he could have gotten hurt, right? So just, when you're out there, be careful. And who all wants to go with for this, since that seems to be what we're going with, at least for now?
So like, which direction are we planning to head?
Basically, the perimeter of the town, Duyan could have gone anywhere, because the basic gist is that Duyan doesn't want to get too far away from the perimeter of the barrier.
Wait, I understand why Rhea would go, and I get why the gnome would go, but why would Birdie Num Num go?
Birdie Num Num hasn't offered yet, so we don't know. So the basic gist here is that
shut up.
basically there's like a perimeter, and Duyan is just circles around the perimeter, right? Like, you don't go very far out, but it's just like going out of the barrier and investigating. And Duyan isn't...
Yeah.
There's no, like... Duyan isn't visible from the perimeter. We've already looked from inside. We haven't seen any evidence of where Duyan is. But, I mean, it's only been like a day or whatever. It's not like it's been a very long
Yeah,
time.
Rhea should probably know like where Dean would like head out to,
Yeah.
knows that his spots and all that.
You know Duyan's
So Rhea just wanna-
exact
Like,
path.
we actually know Duyan. Maybe he was just like sulking. Maybe he's just doing this because he's feeling underappreciated. We don't even know this dude. But seriously, he could just be like,
Hey, where are you?
You aren't here.
I
Shush.
So, if Duyan is got like taken or whatever during like a normal trip, you know exactly where you would look for at least the evidence of where they would have been attacked or whatever. So,
I mean, the issue was that Rhea wasn't allowed to go and see, so
yeah.
they don't know what happened.
Yeah. And, I feel like people were kind of hoping that you would just, like, kind of go investigate a little by yourself. And then they're realizing, oh, maybe we're either going to have to send this young person out by themselves to who the hell knows what, because they ain't offering. Or we're going to have to actually...
The rule.
Or we're going to have to help. And I don't want to go out there. Do you want to go out there? I mean, somebody needs to go out there. Somebody.
I'll
But
go.
who? I was kind of describing what the previous
Yeah,
conversations were, but yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll go. Because earlier I already offered to go along.
We're just waiting for like, overt permission so they can go.
Okay, so like seriously, let's actually seriously think about this. If we're trying to set up a search party to go and find this dumbass who's supposed to know better than get himself nabbed because it's his fucking job, so like we need an actual party that's somewhat competent. So like, bird guy, what can you actually do other than like fetch packages?
Sorry, do? What? I don't understand. What do you need me to do?
Well, if we're going out there, we are potentially may get attacked by monsters that are being kept away by the barrier. Can you handle yourself in a fight?
I have some talents.
Some talons, you say?
I'm a talented individual.
Okay.
I
I'm
can do this on my
assuming
own.
you hunter person can actually do something with
I know what
weapons.
I have been providing you with the meat you eat.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm assuming you can handle yourself. I might have shot a crossbow at a thing or two.
1 second.
See.
Artica? I do not see your spells listed here. Have you selected your spells?
She
You
may
can
not
tell me
have.
to select spells, mummy.
Huh?
It's a little bit obscure selecting them. The character builder doesn't let you. It doesn't really like sanely help you with that.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
you gotta choose your own spell.
Yeah, so I think that's relevant because we almost ended up in a combat situation substantially earlier than I thought, and I was looking at what spells you have available. But anyway, continue.
So yeah, it sounds like we need to cover our bases. Do we have anybody who can actually like heal people in case somebody gets hurt?
Are you offering your services?
I mean,
I mean,
have
you just said
some
we.
skills in this. Well, no, we as in like if I suppose I am sort of trying to take charge of this weird, confused mess. So if we're going to do this, and it sounds like we kind of have to, because if we keep waiting, we're probably more fucked than we are right now. So let's do this. I mean, I've been outside. I've traveled between towns, so I've seen a thing or two. And I do have some minor capacity in healing and shooting a crossbow bolt here and there, and other random tricks. So maybe we can pull this off. But like, I think we need to figure out exactly like how we can actually, what skills do we have that will actually allow us to, not fall on our face the first thing, first hostile thing we come across.
I think I'm prepared for danger.
Yeah,
I'm not sure about all of you.
You are worried the least out of this group. And also, we've got that weird, angry, weird crystal thing that was drunk a second
The
ago.
Dragon Ball?
Weird crystal thing.
Yeah, interesting.
Their name is
I see.
Artica, and they're not weird. They're beautiful.
Yeah, and a bit of a dick. I don't know. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, a lot of people agree.
Well,
There's like a lot of like
yes.
yeah. There was a little bit of nodding when you said that they're beautiful because gem encrusted dragon.
Yeah.
That goes a long way for you. But when you said also kind of a dick, that got like the
The whole room.
Also, pretty sure they still owe you like for all the wine they just polished off a second ago.
I mean, if you can get that gigantic wizard thing to help, that's great. But I mean, good luck. Good luck. And a few people kind of like pipe in with like skill sets that they would have that would be completely useless. Like someone's very good with shears, and they think that like their ability to like very finely cut like the because you have to like prune the plants and do things like that. Like being able to cut things very precisely and do stuff like that like translates over into stabbing a monster to death with your scissors. Like completely useless non-combat skills are being introduced by a variety of people who can be safely ignored, much less named.
I quickly realized that this is basically hopeless, and we need that dumbass dragon.
Prefer to keep this party small.
You think we can do without the dumbass dragon?
If you could convince them to come with us, I do
We
not
should
see why
get
not.
the dragon.
I think Cobb should just tell it it's kicked out of the town if it keeps being a dick and doesn't help keep the town running.
I mean, I definitely do not want to piss off a dragon.
So we're just letting it stay because well, I mean,
well, they do good work. I mean, like,
yeah, but you're all gonna die if like shit doesn't turn around. So one way or another, everybody's gonna die.
I'm gonna die if they breathe on me.
Also, the dragon is gonna be the last thing that's gonna die. It's gonna eat the rest of you when it gets hungry.
That is not something I'm looking forward to.
I only eat gods.
You are not here.
I feel like someone should know this and probably talk about
Nobody
eating
knows.
You've never eaten a god.
I feel like the hunter should understand my digestive preferences.
The thing
I
that's
do
funny
not
is
eat unworthy things.
the thing that's funny is because of the fact that you keep transmuting the meat into something that vaguely resembles human flesh. You're taking something that's the meat of like some random quadrupedal monster and you're turning it into a replica of a god, which is a bipedal humanoid. Cobb, at the very least, does not find the idea of you being a cannibal remotely like unusual. It's like, yeah, if push comes to shove, we getting eaten, but we have no mechanism to kick a dragon out of town, right? Like, what am I gonna threaten them with, right? Like, maybe if they're drunk enough, we can move them outside, and then they come back when they've sobered up and kill everybody. Like, it's a dragon wizard, as far as this person's concerned. He's an innkeeper.
We'll do it.
All right, y'all, good luck.
At any time.
Good luck
We have the means.
taming the dragon or whatever. And
All right. Bird person, you're in charge of communications. Then let's move this
It's all
party
true
over to
over
the.
true.
Let's move this party over to the
To
crazy
Artifat's
dragon
house.
wizard's house and.
Dragon just wants to sleep. God. You're so stressful.
or pretend to sleep at any rate.
Before we leave the inn,
Yeah.
Ulu says, something. Wait, I guess I should roll, and then I'll decide what I say.
This is very amusing.
Why is my 3D roller extremely slow?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yours
dot,
too?
Dot. Yeah.
There
No,
we go.
yours is. Mine's not.
It finally rolled. We got there.
Mom, what's the hit point?
It's how much health you have. It's whether you are dead or not. If you run out of
Okay,
it, you're
I'm trying
unconscious.
I'm trying to like pick my spells because I realized I haven't picked them. I picked cantrips already, but I'm still picking my first level spells. I don't know what I'm doing, but
Okay.
I'll try to pick something good.
I assume that 11 isn't like that great, so.
They're just kind of mediocre.
Who says to the inn full of worried people? We are now going to talk to the dragon, and the dragon is not going to kill us and eat us. and they're going to help us, and we'll be back before you know it.
uh, the,
And,
Rhea just waves and like follows them out.
and the rest of the town's just like, maybe wait until they sober up. Like, they don't like. It's kind of like they're kind of like everyone's kind of like. I feel like that was almost very bad for all of us, but at the same time, it's
I don't
fine.
know what to
I'm
say.
sure it'll be fine. I'm sure you won't all die. We
So
have.
before we quite get there,
Yeah.
I'm rolling insight,
Okay.
and I do terribly at it.
What are you rolling insight to find out?
Well, I was gonna roll insight to have an insight into Artica being more of an ass than usual because of headache and being thrown out of an inn.
Might have had a bad morning. Just not feeling over this human shit
But-
today. Kind of over
but I
it.
didn't.
You know?
But I didn't do so well. So I mean, kind of just just. I mean, unless somebody had a similar intention, we kind of just roll on over there as a small mob of 4 people and knock on the door, I guess.
3,
Essentially.
3, right?
3 of us.
Three.
It's only 3 of
Yeah.
us.
Yep.
Essentially.
So
I'm
that
not
is
knocking
So
on the door.
what
There's
is-
what else to do it?
What is Artica doing right now other than selecting spells?
Right now, oh, I'm lying in my bed. I'm curled up. I have a sneaky cup of tea.
Like
I am
mission
reading
accomplished.
Fuck, like mission accomplished. I am happy that I'm not involved with these fucking losers. Let them do their shit.
I will
I'm
say,
just like,
you do not have tea.
I'm just chilling.
You're out of tea. You ran out of tea
Fine, I
2
am
weeks ago.
pretending I am drinking tea. I have brewed some bark.
Okay.
I'm having soaked tea. It's making me happy. I'm under a blanket. I am cozy.
Where did you
My
get this
home is
bark?
nice. What?
Where did you get this bark?
I don't know. Just from wood chips off my table.
So
I'm a
you
driver.
just ground up some of your table.
I'd
and
like-
boiled it.
I'd like you to make a nature check for me.
What the fuck? What?
Welcome to D&D.
Nice.
Oh.
You found like. First of all, you managed to find some wood that was not in fact poisonous, which is always a plus. But you managed to find some like pretty solid this is used for construction, but it's also actually used for flavoring tea. So you kind of have like
fragrant somehow.
you have like kind of a pseudo tea storage in like a table in your house somewhere. Like it's just like you just take some shavings off of that shit. So you
So I got a whole pot going, and I am
Yeah.
getting my cozy on. I'm getting into one of my favorite books, and it's just called The Downfall of the Gnomish Civilization. And I'm just reading it.
naturally. So
I have trauma with gnomes. Okay?
fan fiction. Clearly.
Meanwhile, something in the back of my mind is just like going like, why are we doing this?
All right. So the what are you all doing as you're approaching this recluse's home?
Have I met Nob before today?
I would assume that you had met each other.
I mean, I was in the town for like 2 weeks. We probably run
Right.
into each other. And you are somewhat distinctive.
Oh yes, very. Nob, you said you fire crossbows?
Yes.
Is that it?
Among other things.
Oh,
What else can you do?
what else do you fire?
Not a whole lot of things that I fire per se. I've picked up a few little tricks I can do with magic and technology. I can
I
put magic into things.
You pick up things and you put magic into them?
Pretty much.
Oh. Can you show me?
Sure. Here, hand me one of your coppers. I'll give it right back to you.
I don't have any copper on me right now.
Okay. Well,
I offer one.
okay, cool. I take the copper from you, and I imbue it with a 5-foot light radius, and I hand it
Oh.
over to Ulu.
It's bright.
Mommy, what's my spellcasting ability modifier?
Charisma.
It shines.
Yeah, you can. Well,
Seems
I mean,
quite useful.
it's Neo's copper, but but
How
yeah, you
long
can.
does it last?
Not very long. Actually, I don't know how long it lasts.
I think it lasts until you turn it off.
Ri-
Oh,
Oh yeah, it could be, yeah, because it takes up a
Rhea.
like a slot. So
Rhea, can I have this?
how much money do I have?
It's
You-
just one copper.
I mean, you probably have a decent amount. 1 copper is a very small amount
Okay,
of money.
great. Yes.
For you, anyway. For
Yeah,
peasants.
for you.
You
You
may keep
have
it,
you have
Ulu.
like the most
Yeah.
steady income.
Yeah. You may keep it, Ulu.
Okay.
I wouldn't know how long it'll stay shiny, however.
it will not stay shiny forever. I can only make 3 things shiny at a time, or other things I can do with them. But it will stay shiny for a bit. So in case
Why
you
don't
need...
you keep it shiny?
Well, I might need the shininess for something else if we're in trouble.
What's more important than shiny?
Well, I can make it. I can make it make sounds. I can make it appear, to show like an illusion of something on it. I can have it play a recorded message if I needed
Or
to,
you can keep it shiny.
or I could, and that would be useful. Say if we go into a dark place,
Look at how dark it is right now.
so you can stay shiny all night for sure.
I'm glad you understand.
Oh, I love
So yes, I can make things shiny.
You're very useful. Have we reached?
I was saying, like, as you're approaching this residence, what are you planning on? Like, how are you approaching this? Are you just gonna knock on the front door? Like,
Yeah, I'm just
who's-
gonna go there and
Yeah, I mean, I put Ulu in charge, so like, I already think it's for the most part a lost cause because that dragon's a dick.
You hear the knocking on the door. What do you do?
I blow out the candle and hide.
You blow out a candle and then hide? Okay.
Do I see the candle?
Go ahead and make
now?
a stealth roll with disadvantage for me.
How to make a stealth roll with disadvantage?
Uh,
You can right click the stealth and you can see roll disadvantage.
Ooh, that's cool.
Oh, that's very cool.
I didn't even know that.
Okay, so that's a 6.
Played like 3 campaigns. I didn't.
Everyone's passive perception is above that, so
Yeah.
the rest of you just see like a glowing, like shiny, because it's direct light from a fire. This shiny person blows out a candle as if that's going to disguise the presence of them as they blow out a light source, which means that somebody's in the house. And then they kind of like hide under the bed, but they're bigger than the bed. Like, they're too tall, they're too wide to fit under there. So you just have this like tail pointed up that's visible from the window. Because there's moonlight, it's not that dark. So you can kind of see this like tail that's just like sticking up and then just sort of like waggling back and forth for some reason. What emotion that represents, who knows?
There's probably a bunch of noise that happened during the process too.
Oh yeah, there was a like clunk as the as the head goes under and
The great crystal dragon drops to the ground.
yeah.
Artica, look, I have
we-
something to show you.
Fine. Fine. It's the bird, and he's got something to show me. This might be interesting. Get up. Open the damn door.
And
I
like,
am not happy.
right, like as the door opens, there's this like bright this bright shiny copper, emitting light like in their face, just like right there. It's
Ooh, a
shiny.
good bright shiny copper. Like, yes, shiny. Why shiny? And I pepper the bird with questions. Why is this shiny? Where'd you get it? What happened? Why is this extra shiny? What's happening
This
here?
is from Knob. It's shiny because they put magic in it after they picked it up. That's their ability. They could pick things up and put magic in it. Also, they fire crossbows.
I look at the gnome.
I can.
I appreciate the ability to make things shiny. The crossbow's entirely unimpressive. Very small. It's a very tiny crossbow. What you gonna do?
Accurate.
Poke someone with it? But the shiny thing, that's good. You should do more of that. You should make more things shiny. Good
You
gnome.
see?
I pat him on the head.
I told you. There's nothing more important than shiny.
Exactly. This I understand. And so I invite the birdie for a cup of tea.
Do you just like close the door on the others? Like, what do you do?
I ignore their presence completely.
Oh, okay.
Artica, if you would. I call.
Oh, hi, you! Food person.
Right.
Food?
Yes.
Is there food? Did you find Arctole? Do you
Not
have
quite
the
yet.
flesh of Arctole?
No, but we are looking into something interesting. It might interest you, is what I'm
Is it the
saying.
flesh of Arctole? And is there a book involved?
Would you like to discover something new instead?
Is there food or a book involved?
I could definitely cook for you if that's what you want.
Okay, what are we doing? Why? You guys know that the humans are stupid and crazy, and they do this every 3 weeks.
Yes,
Whatever.
but I
It'll be
like
fine.
to
In about
read
2 weeks, they'll be fine. And you know what? Everyone's gonna be fitter because there's gonna be less food, and everyone's gonna like lose a lot of weight, and it'll be fine.
Bear in
Trust me,
mind,
this happens all the time.
bear in mind,
Just
and I find this funny. They're not all humans, but I like the idea that Arctica doesn't see any reason to keep the mammals straight, and so they're all just humans. It's like you've got half orcs, you've got some genasi in there. There's people with like elemental shit, and it's like mammal, human, done.
yeah. They don't. I mean, they don't have the kind of spines I'm interested in. I can't crack them open, can I? They're fine. They're always doing this. Every week it's some stupid bloody problem. Just because I got books, they have answers for everything. They're always having issues. Just let them be. Let's go find good food. Let's go to the library. Let's even go to that stupid little city this weird gnome creature
Well,
wants to.
if you would like to...
If I may interject, there is much exotic food to be gotten outside of the barrier. And we have one of the best cooks in town with us.
Actually, this is the best cook in town.
All food
100%.
is unworthy unless it is the flesh of Arctole. Is there going to be the flesh of
I
Arctole?
mean, you do your little trick that you do with the food. I'm sure you can make do.
Oh, by the way, y'all would probably... Actually, how about everyone gives me a religion check?
To see if we know this name.
Like, actually, I don't even know that Rhea necessarily needs to give this check, but you passed anyway. It's not like a hard check. So, oh my god, that's a nat 20. Okay,
So
so...
everyone clearly knows Arctole.
So,
I'm on first name basis with him.
well, interestingly enough, this is kind of in your wheelhouse. So the rest of you, you're like, okay, Arctole is some minor deity that like some people worship, but like worship is relatively uncommon in the first place. Like gods do their thing, and most people think there probably are gods out there doing shit, but people don't pay that much attention to them. Knob, you know a lot of information about this Arctole character. Arctole is a was a sort of like semi-demonic, semi-draconic being that existed like thousands of years ago and is part of like the origin stories of like a half dozen nations that was like deified by certain certain like groups of individuals, but never became like an organized religion, right? There was never really an organized religion around surrounding this Arctole character. It was like, I almost would say it's like a hipster religion, kind of. It's like you have the gods of the world, right? You have these characters that, you know, had godlike powers and shaped nations and things like that, that like had their own ideologies and their own like, they created things in their image, right? So like places like the Immortal City are, that's Comoniton's domain, right? You in the Immortal City, you under Comoniton's control, right? Like that, you are directly in being bound to a god in that way, right? Like the territories of Eldrea is like, you know, the elven jungle people kind of worship Eldrea as a god. Is Eldrea actually a god? Is Eldrea a real person? There's definitely a person called Eldrea today that rules the elves. Is it the same person from these like stories from thousands of years ago? Your research would probably indicate that it's possible, right? Arctole is this character that just kind of blips in and out of existence in history and just shows up, lots of fire, lots of death, and disappears, right? Like, this is not something that, it's not an established fixture of the world so much as like, when there's a natural disaster, people blame it on Arctole. So worshipping this deity is a little strange, but it's a thing that people do, right? It's a thing people do, but it's unusual, to say the least. I wanted to respect the nat 20.
Good.
I have heard of your kind, Artica. Those who seek the flesh of gods.
Well, the people who let's be clear here. People worship Arctole. They don't usually want to eat Arctole. That's a new one. That's new.
Like, it's not 100% unique. There could be like a little like hidden subculture
Yeah.
of crystalline dragons.
Yeah.
Again, this
Yeah.
guy has a little bit too much lore and history going on.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there's no history of that. That's not like an aspect that's typical to the worship of this particular deity. Like cannibalism and like eating, that consumption generally isn't really a thing. It's a god of destruction for the most part. So it's like, I'm sure there's 1,000 ways from your historical knowledge that you could see how like this religious sect could offshoot into that, right? It's just weird and you've never heard it directly before. It's just a little bit of an oddity.
I'm like, perhaps all of those disasters in history that have his name on them, that is just some full dragon trying to eat the guy.
Turns out all those disasters are just Artica.
I'm just a lazy dragon that doesn't want to do shit. That's all.
Yet you set out to eat a god.
But that's just because I'm curious. I need to document what a god tastes like.
I also
It's
love how
interesting.
fixated your character is on this, because it is such an unreasonable thing to ask someone to get you the flesh of a god, and your character has no idea how unreasonable this is. Like, did you get my god flesh yet? What is taking you so long?
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're too theoretical.
So yes, lots of exotic food outside the barriers, and the best cook they had in town, along with actually being the best hunter that the town had.
Wait, hold up. You're telling me that if the hunter goes, there's gonna be no food because none of these idiots know how to do food, and there's gonna be no cook, and there's gonna be no delivery person,
That's
and
right.
you and I just started this whole thing. Are you trying to just go off into the city and like get that treasure without me?
What treasure?
The treasure in that ancient gnome city you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, well, that's why I wanted to know which way we're going. I can't do this alone. I need help.
Fine, but you will carry my books.
Bird person. Well,
I have name.
Oh,
You see this whole house? All these books gotta go. I cannot leave them behind. I have no portable way to carry
properly
them.
introduced each other. I've seen you in passing.
I am Ulu. Flourishes, spins.
Do a flat charisma check for
My
me.
library, by the way. This is like my life's
Charisma?
work. I
Yeah.
have to bring it along with me.
I have not seen your kind. I've read of your kind in the books.
How do I do a flat charisma check?
I think you just. That's a good question. Do you just click on charisma up at the top?
If you don't have a natural, I think, penalty disadvantage on it, you'll just do a flat check.
Yeah, you can just click on the number at the top.
On the top?
Yeah, see,
Like,
see
on
where
charisma.
it says charisma and it says the plus
He
2.
did. I mean, they did the right thing.
Oh, there we go.
Let's see
18
here.
plus 2.
Wasn't that me?
That was Ulu.
Okay.
Oh, but it was rolled with Seguin, which I guess is your set, Ark?
Yeah. That was just me fucking around. I was.
Yeah, so that was so it's just interesting because you can have different dice sets, right? So like
Yeah.
the Seguin set is when Ark rolls it, the black set is when you roll it.
Yes. So you got a 12. Unless you want to take
Yeah,
my
I got a
roll,
12.
which I don't think makes sense. So,
12.
okay. As you sort of like twirl around, you know, everyone else can see it's a good looking bird. It's a good looking bird.
Like I was saying, like I've read of your kind, but it's quite interesting meeting one of your kind in person. So, my name is Nob Tinkerwiz. Nice to meet you.
Tinkerwiz. I knew Knob, I did not know Tinkerwiz.
Yeah, I have two names. It is common.
Seems a lot
for-
of people have that.
It's common for many different cultures to have two different names. One usually denotes some kind of a family grouping.
Oh.
I come from a long line of Tinkerwizes.
So, are you all going
You
to?
are a long knob of Tinkerwiz.
It was in character.
A line
Indeed.
of knobs.
Indeed.
You come from a line of knobs? I thought a line of
Freya is like
Tinkerwiz.
turning their head like this, like
Maybe both. Maybe you know each kid gets the same name, you know, respective of their birth order.
What was your father's name?
It was Knob Senior. Tinkerwiz.
Knob Senior Tinkerwiz.
The senior's added after
A
he gets
wonderful
his
name
child.
for
His
a
name was
wonderful
just Knob Tinkerwiz originally.
Oh,
They called me Junior for a while. When I
I
was young.
see.
Yeah. It's gnome naming schemes are quite complicated.
do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a brother. His name is Knob as well.
Is it just Knob?
And it's Knob Tinkerwiz as well.
Knob Tinkerwiz. Same
Yeah.
as you.
It's very complicated.
Seems a bit hard to keep track of.
Yeah, it's a common problem with.
What
with
sets you apart from the other Knob Tinkerwiz?
I'm better than him.
Oh. I see. He does not make things shiny.
No,
I thought so.
He's really bad at it.
I thought so.
I think his special skill is he makes things darker, less shiny.
That's
very
unfortunate.
sad.
Just like shit talking your brother. Does this brother exist, by the way? Is Nob making this up, or is this all just like straight up?
I mean, is it? Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I mean, you
Do
would
I
know,
even
and
know?
it's a matter of whether
Do
you
I
need to roll a
even know?
deception check or not.
And roll a perception check.
I like the idea. It would be insight for this. I love the idea that
Okay,
it's your
I'll
little
roll
brother, and your little brother is the junior. So Nob Junior is your little brother because they're the youngest Nob.
Oh, that's terrible.
That is a pretty terrible deception check, but I never said I was good at it.
Yeah. So is your character telling the truth, or is this made up?
Let's go with that's actually the truth. I'm making up some really fucked up social norms there for gnomes, but yeah.
It's like vaguely correct, but like it's like, yeah, I mean, these are actually true things. Okay.
I believe it all.
Yeah. So you get the impression that this is above board.
So Artica, you're coming?
Yes, yes.
Oh, this is
I mean,
great.
you're taking the only source of food in the damn place. Who's gonna deliver me fucking breakfast? I'm gonna have to do all this shit myself. I might as well go. All these house chores are gonna pile up on me. And these humans are gonna bitch at me the whole time. So I might as well go.
It's been many months since I've been out of here. I cannot wait.
So are you all going to leave immediately? Are you going to go sleep first? What is your plan?
No, we gotta pack up my books. Someone's gonna carry all these books. There's at least like a whole house built out of them. I'm
Okay,
not
that's-
leaving without the books.
That's not going to happen.
Encumbrance
Well, what are you gonna do
rules.
to protect my books?
Let's just put the town in charge. We'll let them know that if they don't protect your books, you will burn down
Do
the
you
town.
want to put the people in charge of my books?
Yeah, they're
You
already scared of
insane?
you. They're already scared of you. If you just tell them that you're gonna kill them all if like your books are harmed, they'll keep them safe.
They'll touch my books and
They
read them.
literally sent us to talk to you because they were scared shitless of talking to you.
Can you like arrange some security guards for my shit? Just
We'll talk to the
fine,
innkeeper.
fine.
I mean, they don't actually have any military or militia or anything, so
Yeah, because they didn't show up today. Or Ashburn. Yeah, you know why there's no town sheriff? Because the town sheriff didn't show up. Boom. Called out.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. It's 100%.
Are you ready to go?
Yep, fine. I also just finished picking my spells, so fine.
I think we can probably assume that you all manage to figure out some process that allows everyone to get out of this house and this town without burning anything to the ground and without bringing hundreds of pounds of books along with you. So, Artica, as you leave your home, I would like you to make a perception check.
Oh my god.
That is a 7. Okay.
it's like you see nothing amiss.
Are you all going to do anything else in particular before you head out of town?
Speaking of heading out of town, we got like 10 minutes before we gotta go to bed.
That's very convenient because
Yeah, that's a good time. So.
this works well. So, anything else that people want to do before heading out of town?
Rhea has been ready since like she came down.
Okay.
It's like, where's
like,
the murder? Why
I'm
are
a-
we fucking around without murder?
I am a hunter. Just let me fucking hunt.
I will say, wait here, be right back, and I'm gonna run to my little loft and grab my loft room. 2 more pieces of copper. And come and run back.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. Okay. So y'all collect whatever belongings and things that you need from wherever you need to bring them. You're technically at this point, the places that you're going are right outside of the town, so it'd be easy for you to come back. It's not like this is like you're going on an adventure and you're not coming home kind of deal. This is like right outside.
That we know of.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously you would take
Does
precautions.
anyone have detect magic in this party?
No, yet.
Did your character ask everyone else that before choosing what spells they learned?
No, I've chosen already, and I'm just asking what everyone else has, just to make sure.
I don't know what detect magic is.
I think it's a
That's
spell
not
that
my
detects
list.
magic.
Deep breaths.
Okay, so as you all leave the sort of like boundaries, and we're just going to do like a little ending monologue here. I would actually like one more roll from Rhea. I would like you to make either a nature check or a survival check for me.
Survival it is. Do I get... Wait, we're rolling for wandering to the...
This is your favorite terrain, yes, so you get advantage on this.
So I get an advantage, so I'll roll another one?
Yep.
16.
16. Okay. So, this is just like a random, fun point of order to say this is a great place to end it. I love it. I'm glad that we're ending on this line because I've got this written out. So, you always thought it was kind of odd that the forest doesn't continue into the barrier. Like, the edge of the barrier and the edge of the forest are the same. Plants grow within barriers. Like, there shouldn't be any reason why the forest itself would be held back. Like, you should be continuously having to push the forest back because it's going to naturally grow into the barrier, right? That doesn't actually happen. There's a pretty clear cut divide. And this is just something that, as you cross the barrier, you've always kind of thought of that, and it just occurs to you once again. And that is where we're going to end for today. On that fun note. On that fun note, there's
What is this town hiding?
just an unsolved mystery.
Forest is alive.
I actually have to write out a bunch of different things there.
Forest is fake.
Oh, perhaps.
All an illusion.
It is
It
all
all
an illusion.
is an illusion.
And that is going
I mean,
to
I
be it
could-
for this episode.
I mean, I could have a detect magic,